Welcome back to No Substitutes, the show where I have on some of my favorite people. We talk about what ingredients make them who they are. And this week I have a very special guest. I actually just met her, but she is a professional Dom. Also, I think this is the first time we have had someone in that realm on here. You guys know it's a very SW friendly podcast, but I'm very excited to dive into this one. I would say she's an enchantress and just all around seems like a lovely, lovely person. So I'm excited to get to know her today, as well as you guys. So please welcome Miss Jennifer Hex.
Thank you for having me.
Yee. You look so pretty. God,
Thank you. So do you.
I'm like, you look like clean pretty. You look like you're ready. You look like you're going to work right now.
Thank you. I'm in my uniform.
Yeah. I'm like, I love it. Oh, well, how was the drive over?
It was very peaceful. Traffic wasn't too bad, so
yeah,
no complaints here.
I feel like you got the good time slot.
I did. Middle of the day is the way to do it. You beat the rush hour traffic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hopefully on the way back it's not bad. Well, yay. Hi, thanks for coming.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, let's get into it. What are 3 ingredients you would say you need for your profession?
I love your questions.
Oh, okay.
I think probably my big 3 would have to be discipline, curiosity, and empathy. I feel like as a Dom, you're showing people that you know how to guide them to the places you want to go together. Mm-hmm. And one of the best ways of doing that is leading by example. So having self-discipline is really important. Wow. It allows people to see that you know where you're going to guide them to because they see you following your own guidance and they can trust in that. And once you have someone that has that initial level of trust, you want to be curious and have your curiosity be greater than any fears, because a lot of the stuff that we do is people's first time exploring things or stuff that may be, a little bit more taboo. They're not quite used to. So being curious is a great way to explore that with them. And because domination is based on like interpersonal relationships, I think that empathy is how you can build depth and trust, because you have to be able to meet someone where they're at so they know, like, I can trust this person. They see me, they care about my experience, and they're going to guide me somewhere that we're both going to enjoy together.
Oh, that is a great answer. I really loved that because, like I said, this is the first time I think having someone from this kind of realm, like I have been in that world and having friends on from more of the in front of the camera stuff is a little different. So hearing about a process that is so much more vulnerable is very interesting. And I don't know, it's like I don't think I've ever really gotten to experience that. Well, I've worked for KI. Okay. I worked for a company that, had a Dom. But other than that, I don't know. Especially women in that field. That's such a sexy thing to me. So I'm so curious.
Oh, yeah.
Well, how different or similar are you compared to Miss Hex?
I think that Miss Hex recognizes that me as a human being was someone that could hold the space. So it's almost like my day-to-day life, I get to shape and see, okay, I serve Miss Hex as much as my subs serve me. Wow. I see what she can do. I see the things she's capable of, the way that she can help shape and guide people. And to me, it's a responsibility. So I'm like, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, all right, what are we doing for Jennifer today? What is Miss Hex up to?
Oh my gosh.
So I think it honestly is just me. Like I am a professional, but also this is my lifestyle. This is just who I am. So I think that we're really one and the same.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. What was your first time trying to Dom like?
Honestly, a bit of an awakening, I would say. I think until you're in a situation where a sub really shows up and is ready for you to guide them, you don't even understand what it's like. There's one of my mentors, Kapoh-Perez. She says the Dom comes out when the sub shows up. And when someone is like handing you their power and it's like, I want you to take this and do something with it, you're like, oh, I have a responsibility now. I have a purpose. And you really do just snap into it. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, I've got this person. This is what my focus is on. And I think you fall into a flow state pretty easily. And for me, it just kind of came naturally. I was like, oh, this feels right. It feels good. And when you get that feedback from the other person, you're like, yes, we're in this together, and it's going in a good direction.
Wow, that's beautiful. How do you build trust with your clients, and how do they build trust with you?
I love that you asked it both ways, because trust is such a two-way thing. Before there's any type of play, there's always a negotiation. And I think that initially is how you build trust. Most people that come to me obviously are already familiar, right? They've seen me online. They might be a little bit familiar with my style, the things that I'm into. But when you do have that initial negotiation, you're finding the overlap of your desires. And when you let a person understand, these are my desires, I'm here to share this with you, what are yours, and how can we find a good overlap? They pretty quickly build that trust because they know that you're trying to find a way for both of you to have a good time and something that's going to be impactful, but also fun and memorable. So, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Damn. These are just, you're coming out with all the best answers.
Oh,
I'm learning so much. Well, so your work revolves around doing acts of service for others. What are things you like being done for yourself?
I love thought and intention being put into things. So the actual acts, I would say, are not as important as understanding that someone has gone out of their way to know what I like and I desire. A lot of the things that are meaningful to me, I love when people cook for me. I have subs that have like tried to really perfect recipes specifically for me, which is super meaningful.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, like for example, I don't eat dairy, and so I love pancakes, but it's really hard to make a pancake without
like
dairy.
A fluffy, good,
fluffy, good pancakes. And I have a sub that has worked on over a year now to like perfect a really, really good pancake. And that is probably one of the most meaningful things that anyone has learned how to do for me. So it's those little things, right? Like someone bringing you coconut water because they know that you want to hydrate and this is something you like. It's the stuff where they're just thinking what would be good for her specifically, because I want that intention.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm going to need to get that pancake recipe.
I am happy to give it to you. It's so good.
Because I shouldn't do dairy, but I kind of do here and there. But that's one I'm like, well, I'm going to eat a pancake today and just suffer through it. But if I can make one that does not make me feel that way.
I understand. Suffering for a cause is right up my alley.
Yeah. Oh my God. That'd be an interesting skit if it's like a dominatrix making someone like eat cheese and they're lactose intolerant, but they're like just farting the whole time. And kind of just like trying to seem pleasurable, but they're just like ripping ass.
There's definitely someone out there that's in that.
Oh yeah. Because I'm like, I feel like somehow you can make that safe for work, like in a dungeon, but you're just like feeding someone like mozzarella and then they're just like tooting.
Do you mind if I jump in really quick before we go on to the next part? Okay. I mean, it's always so fascinating talking to someone in the kink community because I'm such a vanilla person. Like I made the joke a lot that like, I'm just happy to be there, you know? So I'm just like, you know, whatever they want, sure, I'll do it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite topics though is talking about aftercare. And I was wondering maybe on the other side, is there like something I haven't heard too much talk about? Is there like aftercare for DOMs? Like you just did, you know, a lot to someone.
Yeah.
Do you ever need it yourself to be checked in on?
Oh my gosh.
And what is that like?
Great question. Aftercare for DOMs is actually really important because there is sub drop, but also DOM drop can be just as, if not more intense. You have all of these like chemicals just dumping into your brain when you're playing with someone. Like your neurotransmitters are going crazy. So for me, ritual and routine becomes really important. So after a session, I am absolutely taking a bath with my Epsom salts. I'm taking the time to moisturize, do my gua sha. For me, it's a lot of those things that are just connecting with my body and regrounding myself and the fact that like, okay, I need to care for myself physiologically. Also, I think meditation is really important. Like I do that more in the mornings, but I think having a stable base to ground yourself and just come back to who you are as a human being when you're outside of the dungeon is really important. So I do a lot of that self-aftercare. I also expect my subs things like whether it's a foot massage or feedback, I think is also a really great form of aftercare.
Yeah.
Because when you do show up for someone and you provide a really like intense scene or intense play, understanding how it impacted them, what are the things that were most memorable, getting that validation and feedback is for me a huge part of the aftercare of like, oh, okay, great. This was a positive experience for both of us. And it allows you to just work towards even better things in the future with them. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was actually very curious about that too. Yeah. Because in my brain, I always thought it was just a one-woman show. And then you're just like, all right, I'm going home. Packing up.
Yeah, because you kind of have to think about it a lot of ways. Like the subs kind of like have the most power, right? And so if you're kind of giving... because they have like the final say and everything, if it's even going to continue or not. So you still should maybe check on the person who's like relinquishing power, even though they're giving something. It's like an act of service, even though you're doing something for someone else. It's not just like you're giving them a massage, right? It's a lot of
such an intense energy exchange.
Yeah, it is.
It's like not just physical.
Yeah, so you should. And I just don't get to talk about that. So I was like, I'm just curious about like, what does that work on your end?
That's even what I always try to bring up when I tell people about the adult entertainment industry, like shooting wise, is like you need to check in with yourself and check in with what's going to put you back in your body. Because sometimes, even if it's a job that you really enjoy doing or it was a really great shoot and with a great partner, you still got to be like, okay, woof. Like even all the good stuff of that can be very draining. And so the Epsom salt baths, the giving yourself love and just being very tender after, it's so important and can make the whole process like a lot more peaceful and grounding.
Yeah, I love that you use the word exchange because it really is like a cycle. And when you give it that feedback loop, that's how it continues going.
Yeah, because I think it's like I'm not really educated on the dom sub kind of stuff, but I'm sure even people that don't even touch that world or do any sort of research, I think can just assume that they're like, okay, someone shows up, whips you, walks away. It's like not quite.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah, they don't quite understand the dynamic or that it's actually two-way street and like very much an exchange.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm just processing so much information. Well, I guess this might answer this question. As we move on to course 2, we're going to talk a little bit more about your childhood, but this can kind of be a more recent thing too. But what is the best meal someone has cooked for you? Is it that pancake?
The best meal? Oh my gosh. Honestly, I've had some really good meals cooked for me.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the best meal that someone has cooked for me is actually quite simple, and that's my mom. When I was growing up, my mom would always make eggs. And like super, super simple, just absolutely basic. But there's something about like having your mom in the kitchen, stirring things around and just like the love that goes into the meal.
Yeah.
So I think that is probably the thing that will stick with me the most. Like I actually just went home recently and my mom was like, do you want anything special for breakfast? Do you want to go out? And I'm like, no, could you make me eggs? Like simple, basic.
Yeah. Mama, that's how I feel. I'm like, those are such special things to keep in our lives.
Yeah.
Well, what are some of your favorite childhood memories?
Some of my favorite childhood memories. I love climbing trees. I still do, actually.
Yes.
You'll notice, actually, some of my my like dom stuff I like to do outdoorsy type things, and like I literally will get in the trees and like step on subs from the trees.
Amazing.
But that I think
That's
does
so
track.
unique.
Yeah, I like to have fun with it. But when I was younger, obviously you're small and you're like, there's this ginormous thing to climb and to conquer. And that to me was always something that I was just drawn to. So being outdoors, being in nature, I grew up in Georgia and like near like the creeks and the rivers.
Yeah.
So climbing trees, swimming in the creek, like all of that. I just like being outside and being able to connect in that way. So most of my favorite childhood memories are the ones that are like pre-cell phones where I'm like, I didn't have a care in the world.
What a different time. Because even I have a niece and she gets her iPad and stuff, but oh my God. I'm like, wow, I never would have thought I would live in a world where I actually am very grateful for the childhood we had. And yeah, just being like running around half naked at a beach and just playing in the ocean and climbing trees. Just being a kid. I don't know.
Exactly.
I feel like parents are still trying to have that happen, but it's hard because it is. You're like, well, if I just slip them the iPad.
I know. iPad kids. I'm like, thank goodness that predate or post dated my childhood.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. Who did the cooking in your family growing up?
Honestly, I feel like I cooked for myself a lot, but not because anyone can't cook. Everyone in my family can cook.
Okay.
My family just works very hard. My mom was in grad school when I was younger. So I learned how to cook for myself at a pretty young age. But my dad was really good at making chili. He did some like chili competitions and
nice.
I can't handle spice at all. So I never would eat the chili, but he did win some of them. So my dad was really good at that and like the meal prep stuff. But I'd say from a pretty early age, like I learned how to cook for myself. I did have a nanny though for a little bit. So Angela cooked a lot. She actually cooked a lot of Mexican meals because she that was where she was from. And so I love Mexican food because I feel like a lot of my early meals were made by her. But everyone in my family can cook. I can cook and I love to cook. So
when did you move to California? Because this is like land of good Mexican food.
I know. And I'm very grateful for that. I moved here for the first time when I was in 5th grade, actually.
Oh, wow.
So I kind of did this like jump and back. I moved here when I was in 5th grade for 1 year. My mom, when she was she's a psychologist. So to get her PhD, she had to do an internship year and you get placed somewhere and you can like rank where you want to go, but you don't actually get to say where.
Okay.
So we ended up in California. She was working at a child and family guidance center. And I loved it so much. I was like, I had never been anywhere like California before and it was a totally new world. But we ended up moving back to Georgia after that year. And I was like obsessed with California. I was like, how do I get back here? So I was like, okay, I guess I could maybe go there for college.
Right.
So I did that. I came back in 2016 for school and I've been here ever since.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to say, this is the place to be if you love Mexican food.
It's true.
I actually think one of the best places that has the best Mexican food is where I'm from, but I know a lot of people would disagree.
Where are you from?
Humboldt County.
You're so far from the border. How's that possible?
I don't know.
There's good cuisine everywhere.
Yeah, and they made it up there. They traveled. I don't know. They were like, but there's some good ones up there. There's this one restaurant called Esteban's, best tortilla. I've never had a tortilla anywhere else. Like the burrito there is so good. And then recently, me and my family would always go to a restaurant called Carmela's. And then this man who works there left there and started his own restaurant. His restaurant is now called, oh my God, El Chipotle. But it's not the Chipotle. It's his own Chipotle.
The better Chipotle.
The better Chipotle. And oh my God. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased, but yeah, growing up there, because yeah, I'm originally born here. Lived in SoCal, moved there, grew up always eating Mexican food, but I don't know. Humboldt might have it better because I've eaten food in San Diego. I've eaten Mexican food here, and
we have to do a road trip.
Oh, yeah, wow. I know. Well,
I'll tell you if it's good there or not. Don't worry about it.
Or
I'll let you know if it's good.
Yeah, I will literally drive down a burrito just to prove my point to you. One of these days.
It's hard. I think Echo Park has like the best tacos. Like it's so hard to beat that spot in particular.
SoCal has better tacos, but
you're gonna go. Obviously, I'm more of a taco guy.
All right. Well, I'm more of a burrito or like a plate of food.
Well, no one's
I'm
perfect.
team burrito with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to break it to you guys, but where I'm from.
Are you from Mexico?
Yuma, Arizona, which is pretty much Mexico.
That's true.
It's like 15 minutes from Mexico. But I always judge a place by its salsa. Like, are you guys like chunky salsa girls
true.
or like thin salsa?
I will say I've had the best green salsa in Las Barcas and Huntington Beach. That's like where I'm from. My dad said, he's like, you were literally only a few months old eating green salsa.
Oh, that's cool.
And people were just like looking at him like, do you feed your baby salsa? But to this day, I like went back there a few years ago and it holds up.
Good stuff.
That's best green salsa I've ever had.
One last burrito thing, and
Sorry.
then we can move on. What do you, I kind of like am whatever on California burritos. You know when they put the French fries inside of it?
I don't eat that.
Well, no, I just wanted your opinion on. I'm not gonna judge you if you like California burritos, but it's like so popular. I was like, I don't want French fries in my burritos.
I've heard people say that San Diego has that, and I'm like, well, yeah, San Diego's very, very whitewashed and very, which is so funny because so many people are like, best Mexican foods in San Diego because it's right there, and I'm like. But also, these people are eating at places in like La Jolla, and I'm like, like you need to go closer to the border if you are gonna go eat in San Diego. I feel like I don't know.
I feel like with the California burrito, like I would rather have the fries on the side. Like give me a burrito and give me fries. I don't need them to be combined.
It's something that like for sure like a 5-year-old came up with.
Yeah.
Like. That stuff, like, I remember my brother would do that stuff when we were kids, like put the fries inside his burger. I'm like, no. He's like, well, it all ends up in the same place. I'm like, yeah, but you can also enjoy them, like, not in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, food should never be, the goal should never be to stuff it all in one place. And that's what the California burrito feels like. I'm like, it sounds like you guys just were... I don't know. Like, yeah, they asked a 5-year-old what they wanted to eat one day, and
it was like, what are the leftovers? And then you wrapped it up in a burrito.
Yeah, cram it all in there.
Yeah. Which some recipes are great. That one, I'm not sure I'm super on board with. Okay, this isn't about Mexican food. This is about Jennifer Hex. Who are some people that influenced you the most while you were growing up?
Oh, when I was growing up. Well, I feel like I'm still growing up.
Yeah, we're still growing up.
Honestly, so many people I could name. Obviously, I have to say my mom. But I think one person that genuinely shaped my life in a more surprising way was my first big girl job boss, my first full-time job. This man taught me discipline because he led by example. He came into this company that I was working with from like a larger holding company. So he really understood structure. And he was also a D1 athlete when he was in school. So he was very fit and he took fitness very seriously. He was always in the gym in the morning before work. He would bring a bucket salad, and around like, I forget the specific time of day, but you would hear him shaking his bucket salad and you'd be like, okay, I guess I need to be thinking about lunch. And he also taught me about investing, the power of compound interest. Like he really went out of his way to teach me things that he didn't have to. He very much cared. Right. He cared about his people. And I think a lot of those things have stuck with me since, because I understand now. I'm like, yeah, that is what you do. You lead by example. Someone sees that you have discipline and they're inspired by that. And so he really shaped me in a lot of those ways.
And I feel like discipline is a quality that actually can lead to you feeling like so much more self-confidence.
Yeah.
Because when you're disciplined and you can prove that you can show up for yourself in that way, and you stick to a certain schedule or a routine, or push yourself to go to the gym, or just certain like things like that, or being financially strict with yourself sometimes. Because then, I don't know, I feel like I saw someone talking about discipline recently, and they were saying, because then you can be that person who gives advice and you're not feeling like a fucking fraud, first of all.
Yeah.
And you feel confident. You feel like, well, I do show up and I do these things for myself. And if you're not someone who brings more to my life, then I'm not gonna settle.
Totally. It's like once you have that discipline, it becomes your identity. And then you can't distance yourself from it. You're like, this is just who I am. This is what I do.
It's like, yeah, I think it's a great quality. I love that.
Yeah.
What's a life event that shaped you?
A life event that shaped me. I learned boundaries by having a stalker.
Oh,
I think that
wow.
It sounds scary, but and it was at the time, but I look back on it now and I'm like, I did not have boundaries at that point in my life. I've always loved volunteering. I was a Special Olympics coach for like a decade of my life.
Wow.
And during COVID, the regulations, like everything kind of shut down. It was very difficult to volunteer, but I got connected. Literally, I was just walking outside and this man like saw me and was like, we're over here. And he had some volunteer organization. Everyone was masked. It was outdoors. And it was one of the first places that I could like really reconnect with people during that. Oh. But I got really close with a lot of the people we were serving. I spent holidays with them. Every Friday on Skid Row, we're serving. And eventually these people became my friends. They're my family. And I let someone into my home. And I very quickly realized why I should not have done that. And when I ended up getting him to leave that initial time, but he came back. And when you have someone that wants to be in your home and they're upset that you're not letting them in and it becomes a dangerous thing, you learn very quickly why boundaries are important. You learn very quickly how to be a better judge of character. You learn very quickly the things that matter to create those boundaries. So as much as it was a scary experience at the time, I'm very grateful for it. It's also kind of how I got into the SW industry because at the time, I started as a survival SW because I needed to move. I didn't have enough money to pay double rent, but I was like, I'm going to figure this out. And so it taught me, first of all, I can make things happen at the snap of my fingers. If I need to protect myself, I will do what it takes. And I can be the resilient person that changes. So I think that, it was a scary experience, but I'm very grateful that I learned from it. So that was a big life event for me.
Yeah. Oh, that's scary. I've only had one situation, but it was, immediately. Actually, not immediately. It's taken care of like a couple of years later because I didn't realize they were stalking me. Yeah. And it was before I was Lumi Ray. It was when I was just a cook in Arcata. And I was like sitting at the beach one day and some guy came up. He was like, oh, I found you. And I was like, oh, no. Who are you? And I was like, he followed me while I was walking back to my car. And then he like said he like made a necklace for me, gave it to me. And what was weird is this dude was actually kind of good looking, but his vibe was so off. So I was like, not gonna indulge in this. And then eventually I guess like he was like looking for me, but like was trying to use the police to look for me. And my friend was an officer. So he like let me know. He's like, there's this dude that keeps coming in. And then one time he came and sat at the restaurant. And then eventually I just was like, all right, told my friend to serve that guy papers. It's like, but that was like so weird. And but his excuse he said was that God had a plan for us.
Wow, that's quite the excuse. Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm not religious. So I don't know which God told you, but they did not get the information right. Because my line to God is like not happening. So
yeah, it's very scary before you have the protection of your persona too.
Yeah.
I feel like someone knowing your like all of that information about you is
it's like, and now I just have a life that's pretty online, but I keep the important stuff pretty private. But yeah, and then started learning kickboxing
for good reason.
Yeah. I'm like, guns kind of scare me, but I do want to learn how to use one at least. But for me, I'm like, I want to learn how to kick ass.
Yeah.
And also, if that ever happens, just have that like energy too. When you take any sort of martial arts, or I'm sure like have a career where you have to harness this energy of like I got me. I'm going to protect me. I feel like I walk down the street now, it's a different energy. Like no one's gonna try to badger me or like, be too pushy or forward, thankfully.
Yeah. I feel like when you do learn the self-defense stuff, you do walk with a different energy. You're like, if anyone tries me, I will try them back.
Yeah. Motherfuckers want to find me. Catch me outside. Ooh. If you had to describe your personality as a flavor, what would it be? That's fun.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. If I had to describe my personality, definitely not vanilla, obviously.
Chris.
I don't know. I almost feel like chocolate is too basic. Like I love chocolate. Maybe mint chocolate like chip.
Yeah.
Because like you've got like the little flecks. There's a little something to bite on. It's like you have a nice minty, almost like spice to it. Yeah, freshness.
Yeah.
But then you can bring yourself back to those chocolate chips. You're like, this is the good
that's
stuff.
where like the comfort and depth comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, all those good flavors.
I don't think I've asked you guys. Well, now I feel like Chris is vanilla.
Oh, yeah. What would you've exposed yourself now.
That's so rude.
That's so rude.
Not even going to answer it.
What would yours be?
I don't know, because I am a big like mint and chocolate chip fan, or like anything with nuts in it. maybe I'm a little nutty. I don't know.
A little nutty. Oh, I thought you meant you just like never mind.
Oh, well, that was the original.
It's like nuts inside.
It works multiple layers. Yeah, just stuffed with the nuts. Okay.
Because I have thought of this since I like,
okay,
I try to plug myself into it. I think I like to say I'm like cilantro. Like sometimes it goes.
Maybe you did answer this. I feel like you. I feel like maybe.
Did I say this?
I don't know. You taste soapy.
Well, no, it kind of goes because I think
not
that
for everyone.
Yeah,
I think that's
everyone.
What we did go with.
Yeah.
Or maybe it wasn't you. Maybe someone else said cilantro. But I do remember.
Yeah, because some things it's like some people love it and it goes good on things.
Yeah, especially a good street taco.
Yeah, and then I taste soapy to some people. And that's okay.
That's okay.
I definitely thought you meant ice cream flavor. I was not expecting
cilantro. Oh my god!
The
if
ice
you
cream
could be
flavor?
ice cream flavor, yeah. Cilantro. That's
like the worst flavor.
Call up Ben and Jerry's right now.
I bet you they've tried it.
I don't. That's hard. See, I didn't think about this.
See, I did.
I'm just gonna go with. I like banana. I like bananas.
Banana flavored ice cream?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had that.
So I got this is like the worst gift someone could have ever gotten me. But for my birthday, I got an ice cream maker, and I made a banana flavored ice cream, and it was pretty.
That's
good.
Fun though. You can test it out.
If you're watching this and you gave him that gift, I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna be making too much ice cream now. I shouldn't be eating ice cream.
That's it. Yeah, I'm like I would
never have too much ice cream. Make me some ice cream if you don't.
Okay, I'll make you ice cream.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to pass on that one, to be real with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I will take mint chocolate chip.
Yeah. What's your favorite non-dairy ice cream? Or are you like,
well, okay, so Salt and Straw has the freckled mint chocolate chip, which is non-dairy. But honestly, Salt and Straw is second tier for me. Van Leeuwen has the best ice cream. I don't even know what the flavor is. I go in and I try all of them. They like change out their non-dairy.
Okay.
But I love anything with like cookie dough or chocolate in it. But if you go to Van Leeuwen, you cannot go wrong. They also have a non-dairy chocolate hot fudge. So like you've got to go and get a sundae from there. Highly recommend.
It's been a while since I've had anything like that. Damn.
Now you got a reason to go.
Damn. What are some unpopular food opinions you have?
Well, Chris, I'm sorry to say that banana falls in this category. I can't stand once a fruit has been hot. So like if a fruit gets turned into like a flavor, like I just want to eat the actual fruit. Like I want the bite of it.
Right.
So anything like if you give me a chocolate cake that has like raspberry in the middle, I'm out.
Yeah.
I will not be finishing that. And then I don't know if this counts as a food opinion or not, but I don't think you need utensils to eat most things. Like there are stuff.
That's my mom. My mom uses her hands for every food. It's so funny.
I don't use my hands all that often because like I'm aware of how that reads. Well, no, I use utensils. I'm just saying like I don't find them necessary. Like I think there's so many things that are actually better if you're not using a utensil. Like I took cotillion growing up. I'm definitely like, Southern girl at heart. And so I know how to use everything, but I'm like, this literally was just created to like make people feel like they weren't proper. Like you don't need utensils. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. For a second, I was picturing you with like your toes or something. I was like, what are you?
I definitely, there are some subs that are very into that. I do things with my feet and food for sure. So you need utensils for that. But
there you go.
I prefer to use utensils just because when you're out and about, it's just like we have a social contract for a reason. You know?
Yes. Yeah. But I think that's also why tapas bars and like finger foods are becoming such a big thing because people just want to not use utensils.
Yeah, and you get to like do more nibbles if you're doing like tapas style. Whereas if you have like a big entree, you're like, do I want to eat one thing for my whole meal,
or do I commit to that?
Exactly. I prefer variety. So
I love sharing. Like if we're gonna get like an entree and share, and then like a few small plates and like something like that. That's like my prime dinner date kind of situation.
Sharing is definitely caring. If I share with someone, they know that I love them because I'm the type of person, if someone's like, can I have a bite of your cookie? I'm like, I would have bought you your own cookie. Like, I wanted this for me, to be real.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, but no. Oh, I thought Chris was about to say something.
Oh.
He's like, I never share my cookie. Never. Hot cookie takes from Chris. What is the most important thing to you right now?
Family.
Aw.
I have really been focused on family recently. Honestly, it was like 2 years before I went home. Like the past 2 years, I did not get to go back home. And I felt very distanced from them. And getting to reconnect with my mom and my dad, and most of my family is on the East Coast. Like my sister's up in Vermont. Pretty much all of my family is on the East Coast. I'm like the lone person over in California. They come visit, it's fine.
Nice.
But I think that's really my priority right now. I feel very grounded in most other things in my life, but because I'm further away from them, I'm like, how can we do more of this? Like I just texted my mom while I was in the garage on the way up here, like, okay, what times are you free on Sunday? We're going to do like a standing call now. So I just am trying to make that more a part of my routine because you live in California, things are very fast paced here. Yeah. So we're always busy. Yeah. And someone texts, you forget to respond. Someone calls, you're like, oh, I'll call them back later. But having a scheduled and set time to just really be able to drop in and catch up, I think is important. So family for me right now.
That's so nice. Yeah, especially when you're far from family. That's really important. I recently have started going home more, so I get that for sure. Aww. It feels good. It's like you kind of forget how important those relationships are. Yeah. Unfortunately.
I know.
Especially, I don't know. Yeah, life in LA, it is one of those things where I feel like one day goes by and then all of a sudden it's been 2 weeks since I've talked to my mom, and I'm like, ugh. And my mind is just always goes to dark places. I'm like, okay, well, she's not going to be here one day, so you're a horrible daughter.
I get that. No.
Yeah. When I was where my mind.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a fair place for it to go because we do have limited time. And actually, one of my mom's good friends is going through dementia right now. And we went to hang out with her. And she was so grateful that we spent time with her because I think people forget as people get older, as people lose more of their mental facilities, it's people distance themselves from that. And so showing up in those moments, I think, is actually even more important to be like.
It's so healing for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any producer questions?
Yeah, we have a handful of them. I was going to say, I'm like, you guys are
antsy.
So you have to be careful with how you answer this question, but is there something from your line of work that you want to pursue, a type of doming that you want to pursue that you haven't done yet? Does that mean, because there's findom, there's femdom, and
Did you just say the same word at this twice?
Financial domination
femdom.
Yeah.
My mind is drawing a blank. But there's a bunch of different kinds of domination stuff.
Dude, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a bunch, yeah.
Yeah, totally. No, I mean, I've definitely explored all of those and I like them. I think for me right now, actually, I've been getting more into making these like audio files for my subs because as I have spent more time in this field, I'm getting more female subs than before, which is really exciting. Like most of my clients were primarily men in the beginning, and now I have been a little bit more public about the fact that I do have femme subs, and so that's coming to me. And women actually are more into audio content than men are very, very visual, at least in my experience thus far.
I love audio.
Yeah.
I had a guy one time. He was a little more, it was kind of like that relationship, like a while ago. Tell me to just, I don't know, their voice and them like being close to the mic. It's very sensual, and then also just like giving you orders. So he like did that one time, and I was out too. I was like out at a bar and like had to like go do something in the bathroom.
I love that.
Yeah, that stuff's hot. So
I do like making the like voice notes, but I also literally just like in CapCut, I will like layer things. So like I'll like add like layers of like moaning or like a whip crack, or I'm trying to find all the different sounds, like
that's
chains.
So
yeah.
What's that one site? There's a site that like,
is it audio erotica, like Dipsy?
Yeah, something like that. I'm like, you should do that.
I have been thinking about it. I'm like, I definitely should. There's so many things.
Especially if you already have examples to send them, like then they would give you, I don't know how much money it is, but it just seems, I don't know, like a cool way and a cool new, like other way of traffic, work and stuff and get your name out there. Yeah. I don't know. I love that stuff. Yeah. Because it is. I'm like, I think females, we love sounds.
Yeah. And I feel like your voice is something that you can be so specific with too. Like I just finished up a continuing education course called the Shadow series that Kapoh-Perez does. And she had us do this homework assignment where we had to do an audio note and be very specific about our voice. And she gave us feedback. Wow. And it's my next thing that I have to do is create the like second iteration of that, because it is something that you can train and be very intentional with the moments that you want to be slow and soft versus like, no, you're going to get on your knees now. And when you have the duality of like moving between those things, it's a lot more impactful than just like a monotonous, the same thing over and over. Right. You're creating that tension and release. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. It's very fun.
Do you ever find any of like your dom behaviors leaking into your normal life?
Yes, I do.
I love it.
It's so funny because anytime that I meet someone's dog, they're like so aware of the fact that I'm a dom, because I'm like
the dog just like immediately is on the best behavior.
Well, yeah, because I think actually a big part of the way that I first like studied domination skills was by studying dog training. Like it's like
that makes sense. It's literally. Yeah.
Yeah. So it comes out a lot. If my friends have things that they need to work, and I'm like, I can show your dog how to do that. Absolutely.
Wow. That's amazing. That goes hand in hand. That's awesome.
It really does. Yeah.
And dogs are just so sensitive to like energy. So they really pick that up.
Yes, they do. They're like, oh no, this one is not to be messed with.
Have you ever thought about fostering?
I would love to. I would love to set aside some time and dedicate energy to that.
I did a lot of fostering with the last place I lived at. And it's very much that. It's like mostly just trying to get a dog in pretty good shape before they go to their home. Or like having a puppy and trying to potty train them. But yeah, I feel like you could take like a very troubled, traumatized dog and make them settle back into themselves and like, I don't know. I feel like you would be good for that kind of like fostering.
Yeah. Well, dogs read energy. So I think if you set the space and you're like, we're going to be calm now. Like that's one of the biggest things. If you have a really anxious dog or a dog that like is like skittish and all over the place and you just sit and you're like, we're not doing anything other than
don't
being.
Engage with the craziness and get frustrated.
Exactly. Patience is huge for dog training.
Hell yeah.
It sounds like that would work well with like a partner too.
I was just thinking, I was like, I'm not going to say it, but.
I know, I try not to do that. I do. It's funny, like everything in our day-to-day life is power exchange, whether we realize it or not. Like there are always situations, but I think the main difference is consent.
That's what I do with like arguments. I like which sometimes pisses men off. Like if a man gets really big with their energy, I'm like someone that does not feed into it. I just am like, are you done? And then they like,
It's like it's almost that's more frustrating than when you're like, yeah, that's not gonna happen.
yeah.
They're just like a toddler, like throwing a tantrum now. You're just like, oh, did you have fun with that?
That's like I grew up with like three.
Right?
I grew up with 3 brothers, so I did that all the time. Like my brothers would get all pissy, and I'm like, "Are you done?" I'm the oldest, so it's like I'm like, "No, I am." I like no matter how tall you get, no matter how big you get, I'm big dog.
Big dog.
you ain't gonna alpha me.
Oh yeah, we all got that dog in us.
But that's like in now the older I get with partners, that's like what I want, but not in an asshole way, not in this weird red pill alpha shit that men think they're being alpha, where I'm like, you're just like talking down to women. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like an actual man who's like comfortable and strong in his masculinity. That's what's sexy.
Yeah, if someone can be grounded in that and just, it's like an energy. You can tell.
Is.
You're like, oh, you got it.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm very attracted to the dom sub stuff. Like, because it's also, I don't know, at least in this case, like with a professional relationship, it's a lot easier to figure out the boundaries. But when in romantic relationships, I feel like, it can get a little muddy.
Yeah. Yeah. When things are happening outside of the dungeon, it's a lot harder to be aware of the power exchange too. And you're like, wait, what just happened?
What just happened?
But it's so clear when you're in a specific space like a dungeon. You're like, okay, this is exactly what we're doing today. These are the boundaries. These are the guidelines. If this happens, here's like the contingency plan, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime I've shot for kink, I think it's like 4 pages of consent list versus like other companies I've shot for. It's like 1.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, what do you not want to happen? But kink and working for kink, because it's all based on that kind of exchange, it's so specific. It's like, no, we need to know you're not okay with whipping or smacking, or if you do want that, are you allowed to be marked? Are you allowed, like, it's like a whole 4 pages of like very, very specific stuff, but I really appreciate it every time I go and shoot for them.
Yeah. I feel like there's so much nuance because even like if you're, let's say for example, you're like, oh, I'm into hair pulling, but I don't like it pulled this specific way.
Yeah.
Like there's always
that's like what they're like, no, we need to know everything. Like, do you want it pulled 3 times? Okay.
Just have OCD with it.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. But I don't know. It's like, it's kind of fun. It's like a little game. It's like build your own fantasy, and then you just get to go shoot it. And then, yeah.
It totally is a game. I love that.
It's so fun.
It's just play.
We're just playing.
Yeah, little Legos and build your own world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
like
how
Minecraft.
it feels. Minecraft. Dirty Minecraft.
It is. It literally is dirty Minecraft.
Waiting on that level. Okay. I like how you guys mentioned alphas having a specific energy. Because I did have a question. I was curious, can you spot a sub in the wild?
Yeah, it's really funny actually. And like you don't necessarily, obviously you don't say that, but like you become aware. You're like, oh,
you're a bitch.
Oh my goodness.
Lick my shoe.
That would be a funny video if you're walking down the street, sub. Just like in New York where it's like really crowded.
Just smoking a cigarette, just like walking down.
Yeah.
You look like a good ashtray. Yeah, no, it really is clear. And I think there's a lot of people too that you can tell you're like, oh, you have like a submissive energy in you, but maybe you're a switch. And you can see that they could like move between that as well. Because everybody, I don't know. I think that part of being a dom is being able to pick up on energy pretty quickly and understanding, does someone need this space held or are they able to hold space? And once you figure that out, you're like, okay, now I'm going to figure out how to enter into this conversation. What do you need? Well, that's what I'm going to give to you.
That is such an important gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I have it in the dom way at all, but I think I like having it in this way.
Yeah.
Like the podcast space or being a good friend. I don't know.
Yeah. No, this is totally, you're setting a container, you're setting the space, you're creating the structure that allows people to just come in and be like, yeah, I'm going to have a nice conversation,
chat.
just a little chit chat.
Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I guess a question for me is, do you think that you could be in a relationship with someone that wasn't on your side of like the kink area? Like they weren't into like the dom sub stuff? Like let's say everything else perfect for you on paper, but it just wasn't something that we're interested in participating. Like maybe they do it for you here and there, but it wasn't something like I'm excited to participate in this.
Yeah. I feel like totally, because I have so much play in my life. Like I have subs. I get that all the time. You know, I don't need my partner to kiss my boots. Like if they want to, fine. But I think for me, it's more about interpersonal dynamic. How does someone's energy feel to me? Am I comfortable with them? I think that's like a huge thing. Can I just be with someone? I don't need to necessarily be creating any specific.
Act.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think I could have like a very like vanilla type dynamic, and I would be like, yeah, that's fine. I'll go to the dungeon later and beat someone up. Like, I'm good.
Exactly. I like that.
That's fascinating. That whole world is fascinating to me.
Well, that's how I feel. Like anytime I've started seeing a guy and they learn about my past, they're like, or you know what I've done.
Make it sound evil. It's not evil.
I know it's not at all. But they're always like nervous to like have sex because they're like, well, you have like that kind of sex. I'm like, that's not the kind of sex I want to have right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, if we turn a camera on, yeah. But
like, can we chill for a
I'm
minute?
like, I actually just want, I'm like, it's the most important thing to me in real life sex is, just being held and like being intimate and eye contact and like sweetness.
Yeah, you don't get the Netflix part in your side of the world, you know? That's important.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, no, we actually just go straight into.
You're just chilling.
We're not chilling. It is not that chill. We are going. We are like, it's a whole acrobat and Olympics all in one.
It really is like the Olympics. That's real.
Yeah. I always tell people, I'm like, we're athletes.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Like I've gotten injured. Like in areas.
It's a lot of flexibility, strength.
Yeah. I'm like, God, it's just not supposed to take that much, guys.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
We're all very grateful.
Do you ever do tours of your gym, your dungeon, or whatever or place you work at?
Oh, I think yes, but what do you mean by tours? Like showing people around? Or?
Yeah, I'm just curious because I feel like I don't ever not that I've ever searched it, but I feel like I don't like come across like, oh, let's figure out what this place is like before you come visit it, or I don't know, as that type of.
Or just like for show, like, hey, babe, let's go check out this dungeon before we go have dinner.
Yeah, where are these places?
Yeah,
because
I'd rather go to a kink dungeon than what's the stupid thing people
Magic
do?
Castle.
No, well that for sure, and then people like pay to like get out of trapped room.
Oh, escape room.
Escape room.
Yeah.
An
I'd rather
escape room dungeon would be terrifying.
That would
There's
be
all these
absolutely
whips all over the place. You see this counter going down and like the tasers are going off, you know?
No, but I feel like I see couples like go do that for like a date night. I'm like, I'd way rather go tour a kink dungeon than do that. If a man, I'm not calling someone back if they take me to escape room.
Yeah,
you have to escape, but not with them. Just leave them in there. Figure out how to
that's
get
the
out.
escape.
I would walk away if they were like, here we are. Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Not for me. This is actually where the escape actually happens. I'm actually gonna go now.
Totally.
So
That's where you draw the line.
yeah, not a fan of escape rooms, but yeah. So do people tour?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
That's so cool.
I think actually, and one of the first things that I did when I decided that I was going to go pro was I reached out to doms in the area and was like, can I like hire you basically to teach me about your space?
Right.
And so
Cool.
like Justine Cross, who's actually opening a new dungeon soon, Stella Obscura. She's been in Dungeon East for years now. It's been like a mainstay in LA. But that was one of the first things I did. I was like, all right, like what's in this space? What are the amenities here? And you figure out, okay, this dungeon has these type of toys. So if I'm doing a certain session, I'm going to go here. Whereas like if I'm doing sissification, I might go to Pink Dungeon because it's all frilly and cute.
Okay.
Because the space, I think, does really set the tone for the scene as well. So knowing about that is important. So yeah, I definitely like to show people what we're going to get into and what the space is. And there'll be people that'll request certain things too. They're like, I want to do a session at this space.
Oh.
Yeah. You just rent it then, like through the venue, I guess?
You can, yeah. I, at this point, have turned my home also into a dungeon, but that's only for like special subs that have, you know, gained trust and all of that.
Of course.
Tenure.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the space is super important.
Wait, why would a dungeon be all pink and stuff? Isn't it supposed to be like whips and leather?
Not always.
Yeah, there's different strokes for different folks. Well, so that particular dungeon has like kind of like a 2-floor thing going on. So like the main space is all pink and frilly, which is great for people that are into like feminization, sissification, you know, if they want to put on a tutu or a wig and heels.
Oh, okay.
But then they also have this like upstairs space with like, you know, the cages and the whips and stuff. So best of both worlds.
There you go.
Okay. We should do a
Different
field
strokes for different folks.
Different strokes for different folks, for sure.
Okay. Well, this was such a fascinating episode for me. I love learning about this stuff. Where can the fans find you?
The best place to find all of my information is iwantjennifer.com. You can find my Instagram, my X, my fan sites, webpage, all of that stuff, all in one little link.
Perfect. And you guys know where to find me. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us. This is so fun.
Yay.